Hi, I'm George Wall with Eagle Industries.
And I'm Eric Long.
And what we're going to do today is we're going to walk you through a bunch of our products, everything ranging from weatherization to drop prevention to fall protection and even some abatement stuff that we have. You know, we're not going to go into every single detail on these products, but what we're meant to do is just give you some use cases and some best cases as it relates to our products.
What are we going to talk about first, George?
Well, the first thing we're going to talk about, Eric, is this item right here. What do you see?
I see a bolt.
And most people would see a bolt, or they might see a nut, or they might see a rod or something else, some other small metal object. But what I see, Eric, is a potential lawsuit, is a safety hazard. I see a mom or dad potentially not coming home to their family. And the reason for that is these objects can fall below and strike with some pretty impressive force. According to the Drop Object Prevention Scheme, also known as the DROP Scheme calculator, it actually takes the weight of the object, how far it falls, and then comes up with the potential impact, everything ranging from no big deal all the way to serious injury or death. Just a few years ago, OSHA recorded 52,000 incidents of people being struck by falling objects. That's not even including situations where they weren't recorded, so it could easily be thousands more of these incidents happening on a potential job site. This is why it's so important to have measures in place to stop dropped objects. What Eagle can do is offer passive job site solutions that can help mitigate some of the risk and increase job site efficiencies. The first product we're going to talk about is our vertical debris netting. But before I get too far into that product, I want to set the scene up for you guys. Right here is a mock-up of a potential leading edge of a building. And as you can see, we've mocked this up with a 42-inch guardrail on the outside there. And what that 42-inch guardrail does is keep a person from potentially falling off the edge of the building. And while that does a pretty good job doing that, it does a pretty terrible job keeping anything else from falling off the outside of the building. So to help prevent incidents like this from happening, I'd like to introduce Eagle's 48-inch debris netting. Eric, would you mind walking us through this product here?
Sure thing, George. This is our safety debris netting, like you mentioned. It's secured to the 42-inch guardrail. We make this in a 48-inch product to leave you a little bit of excess at the bottom to secure the bottom of the netting to the tow rail using a fastener. It's tied to the top of the guardrail using a zip ties or other fasteners as well. This specific product is a 1/4-inch opening. It allows for wind to pass through, but also contain that fine debris that might fall off the job site. One of the benefits of this as well, is like you mentioned earlier, is to keep small objects from being kicked off the job site, such as measuring tapes, small nuts, bolts, and or 2x4s or pieces of wood as well.
Yeah, you can pretty much keep everything contained. And beyond the 1/4-inch by 1/4-inch netting, we also have a tighter mesh that, while it will allow less wind to pass through, it will stop even the smallest of debris from penetrating to the outside of the building.
George, do we offer this in any other colors except for orange?
That's a great question, Eric. We keep this in red, blue, green, yellow, black, and we even have the ability to add custom colors like pink and purple if a job necessarily needed it.
Well, George, outside of the color options, do we have any other size options available?
And that's a great question, Eric, because if you look right here, while this netting does a great job to keep objects that, say, can potentially fall from the top of the rail to the bottom of the rail, it does a pretty terrible job keeping stuff from falling, outside of here. So what Eagle's done is we have a 5'6", an 8'6", a 10-foot, a 12-foot, a 15-foot, even up to 20 feet that could potentially go from the top of that deck all the way to the bottom, fully cocooning the project and basically keeping all debris inside that project.
George, outside of our safety debris netting, do we have any solutions for heavy debris?
That's a great question, Eric. So outside of the nettings that we just showed you, Eagle has a full line of heavy-duty debris netting. And what that encompasses is everything from, say, a 500-pound rated net all the way to a 27,500-pound rated net. And it has the ability to stop even the heaviest objects from falling to the outside. The truth is, once we understand your unique situation, we can tailor netting to exactly what you need. So beyond sizes, we can sew in doors, zippers, windows, add signs, do different color options. The reality is, we have an infinite amount of solutions to cover your needs. The next group of products I want to talk about is our horizontal debris netting, otherwise known as our catch and capture nets. While a vertical debris netting does a pretty good job to deflect things back in, if you had a situation where something was to fall and you needed a net to capture it, Eagle has those solutions as well. The good thing about that is it can catch heavy debris, but it is also a OSHA compliant fall protection netting as well. Eagle also sells a outrigger system that can extend from the perimeter of the building all the way around to catch and capture both personnel and heavy debris that could potentially fall from the outside.
In addition to some of the larger nets like George just discussed, we have some specialty nets we offer as well. One of them is called pour-in-place net. Industry also knows it as cast-in-place netting. This product is specifically designed to cover openings such as HVAC systems on multi-story buildings to prevent personnel from falling through or larger objects from falling through that hole. OSHA looks at this hole as an opening, and this is an OSHA compliant netting system. The way it works is you simply extend the netting 1 to 2 feet outside of the opening, outside of the form, attach it to the rebar using tie wire or zip ties. You'll pour the concrete into that form, securing that netting system into the concrete and embedding it permanently. Once you're ready to put the HVAC system or conduit into that opening, you'll simply cut around the perimeter of that netting system and drop your object through. Pour-in-place netting is a fast, easy, economical, and most importantly, OSHA-compliant netting system.
The product I'm going to talk about now is Eagle's Skylight Safety Net. What most people don't realize or understand is that OSHA views a skylight up on top of a roof as an open hatch, meaning workers are required to have fall protection in order to work up there.
That's right, George. What people have done in the past is they either have to be tied off with a lanyard or they have very expensive and costly structures that cover that skylight. So what Eagle's done is come up with a very economical and simple solution for that issue.
Yep, and as Eric just said, all you simply do is you're going to take this net out the bag, find the 4 corners, put it around the skylight, and as you see here, there's a lip, and what you do is make sure that that strap is underneath that lip, take the ratchet, tighten it, and now what you have is an OSHA-compliant fall from grade fall protection measure on that skylight, which then can be easily taken off, put back in the bag, and brought to the next job site.
Now we'd like to introduce our line of total enclosures. These enclosures can be used for multiple reasons, such as cold weather conditions, keeping out hazardous materials, and environmental reasons as well. Within that line of products is reinforced poly.
And one of the first products that we talk about within reinforced poly is our woven reinforced poly. The basic way this product is manufactured is we take small strips of plastic and we weave them in a basket weave. What that basket weave does is it gives the poly additional strength when it's ripped. So think of it as a rip-stop plastic.
We also offer a string reinforced poly. The best way I can describe this, George, is 2 pieces of plastic sandwiched together. What I mean by that, there's a tinsel pattern that's put between the 2 pieces of plastic. They're heat sealed together, creating a strong reinforcement for this plastic. The benefits of this is, if there is a tear in that plastic, if it does pull, the strings will bind together, preventing the tear from continuing any further, as George will demonstrate right here.
So what I have here is a small piece of reinforced poly with the tear already in it. So if you were on a job site, and let's say a strong wind was to continue that tear, what you'll see as I continue to pull, those strings bind up, and it creates a ripstop in the poly that keeps it from tearing further. While Eagle's string reinforced poly is a premium product, its pitfall comes in the installation. As Eric will demonstrate right here, he has to pick the plastic up from the inside, but access the scaffolding from the outside to install the wind clip. It is a very labor-intensive and not to mention unsafe practice to get that done. Another potential hazard of this installation method is that in high winds, these clips have a tendency to pop off. All right, let's demonstrate Eagle Scaffold sheeting. It's a product that delivers ease of use, more durability, and therefore better job site efficiency. Eagle Scaffold sheeting is superior to standard reinforced product in 3 ways. The first way you'll notice is it is a 12 mil reinforced plastic, whereas a normal string reinforced plastic is a 6 mil. This added thickness is going to deliver more durability on the job site. The second thing you'll notice are these blue bands that run along the sheeting. These blue bands are about 3.5 foot apart, start at the top of the sheet all the way down to the bottom. What you'll notice are these pre-punched eyelets as well. Those pre-punched eyelets are where you're going to connect the product to the scaffold or other structure. Now the beauty of these bands is that is an additional 12 mil of plastic. So at your connection point, which is also the weakest point that would cause a failure on the sheeting, you now have a 24 mil reinforced connection point, which is a beefier way to install this sheeting up on scaffold. The true magic of this sheeting, though, doesn't come until you get into the accessories. The first accessory is our Eagle bungee tie. And as Eric was going to demonstrate in a couple minutes here, you simply take this bungee tie, pop it through from the inside of the scaffold, not on the outside where I currently am. And when you push it through, it's going to toggle onto itself, and then you simply take the J-hook and J-hook it back onto the bungee tie, and you're connected. The second accessory we have is our Eagle screw lock. And what you do is very similar to the bungee tie you're going to be operating from inside the scaffold. You simply find where two sheets connect, and you're going to shingle those sheets. You then twist that Eagle screw lock into the first connection point, and it'll catch the second connection point, locking the two sheets together, creating a very durable job site. For a standard sheet of scaffoldite, you want to connect about 200 bungees every 1,000 square feet. In high wind areas, or in instances when you want to make the sheeting extra strong, we recommend about 250 bungees per 1,000 square feet. Thanks for hopping up on the scaffold and demonstrating it for us, Eric.
You got it, George.
All right, two common questions that we also get asked is how easy is it to dismantle? Answer to that is it's very simple. You simply hop up there, unhook the J-hook, and the sheeting will fall down from the scaffold. The other question we get is it reusable? And the answer to that is absolutely. You simply take the sheeting down, fold it up, keep it out the sun, and you can take it to your next job and use it without any problem.
To close, outside of scaffoldite's strength and durability, it installs quick, easy, and most importantly, safely.
Now I'm going to talk about our commercial and industrial tarp products, which fall under our total enclosure line. When you purchase Eagle Industry tarps, these are different than your standard blue and silver tarps that you find at your hardware store. They typically differ in about 3 different ways. The first thing you're going to notice when you purchase a tarp from us is that it's going to be a heavy-duty material. This can be more puncture resistant, it can be flame retardant, it can be more tear resistant, it can be anti-static, it can come in quite a few different colors, but you're going to get a much stronger, durable, and fabric that's going to fit the application that you're doing. The second thing you're going to notice is this black seatbelt-like webbing that we sew in at the connection points. The reason that we do this is because it offers reinforcement at the weakest point where you're connecting the tarp. The last and probably most important thing that we do to the tarp is we add internal seams. When you buy a standard tarp at a hardware store, you typically only get connection points around the outside edge. Our tarps differ because we put in custom internal seams. Now we can line those internal seams up with an existing cable, or we can place them every 5 or 10 feet where you can run additional cable or rope. But what this does is where a normal tarp would have all that fatigue and stress on the outside, we now evenly distribute that wind load that's coming onto that tarp throughout the entire tarp, not just on the outside, making the tarp last that much longer compared to anything else. To sum it all up, these tarps are better than the other tarps you would find at a hardware store because you get better fabrics, seatbelt-like webbing on the connection points, and internal seams, which makes the tarps last longer. The next product I'm going to talk about is Eagle's snow removal tarp. It's an innovative way to remove snow from a job site during winter conditions. Imagine you're at a job site, you have rebar all tied together, and a storm is going to be coming the next day. Before, you'd have to have the snow come onto the job site, pay a bunch of guys to shovel snow away, or delay the job. Now you simply take these tarps, lay them over the rebar, and you can come away and lift away the snow the next day. These tarps are built with an 18-ounce vinyl and 10,000-pound truck straps that are built in a crisscross pattern. These tarps come in a 20 by 20 to remove 400 square foot of snow, or 25 by 25 to remove 625 square feet of snow. What I'll do is I'll quickly demonstrate how the tarps operate. As you see, I flip the tarp over as you always want to deploy the tarp with the straps down. After that, you can see here we've got 2 or 3 inches of snow from the night before. You then take all 8 loops, then go get your crane, cherry picker, forklift, whatever you have access to lift this snow away, and simply lift away 400 or 625 square feet of snow in about 7 minutes. This is the fastest, easiest, most cost-effective way to remove snow off your job site. Thanks for joining us today as we introduced our job site protection product lines, use cases, and best practices.
And if you have any questions or need more information about any of the products that we offer, feel free to contact us anytime, and you can always visit our website at eagleind.com.